Joel Wyatt just committed to the Tennessee Volunteers. We're going to take a look at the 6'4", 195 athlete from Oakland and Murfreesboro, Tennessee. So I first watched this film before reading about him, just because I did read somewhere that we don't really know what this dude's going to be at the next level. So I wanted to watch him, form my own opinion, and then see what Tennessee's going to do with him. So I think this could be a great receiver, don't get me wrong. Because you see just how sudden he is, how flexible he is, very explosive. Man, I love those traits on the offensive side of the ball. Me being a defensive guy, this guy is an edge rusher. I love his first step. And, reading what Tennessee thinks this dude's going to do at the next level, they think he's going to come in and play linebacker early in his career, and then maybe, as he develops his lower body, as he fills out his frame, turn a bit more into a down lineman. That's what I read. Now, interesting development. This is me pandering to the Tennessee fans. Are they not putting him at receiver because they think another receiver is going to be joining him in this 2026 class? Maybe a kid from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Who knows? But yeah, just watching him as an athlete, man. I'm not gonna lie. There was a point where I'm like, man, I like this kid as a receiver because he's got really good long speed. But definitely like his upside as a pass rusher. We're not gonna see too many defensive clips in this video, but when you do, you could see just a very quick trigger. Like I keep saying, all the traits that you look for in a pass rusher. Me recruiting, if I was a football coach recruiting, and you tell me that, this kid could be a very good edge rusher, a very good pass rusher down the line, just needs to fill out his lower body. What the hell do I pay all this, six-figure salary to a strength and conditioning coach for? What the hell do I have a nutritionist on staff for if we don't think we can develop these kids' lower body? This kid's a junior in high school. He's already 190 pounds. Yeah, I get that he's 6'4", so he's really long, and maybe that 190 is not really 190. But at the end of the day, man, I'm a college football program. I'm the Tennessee Volunteers. We can turn this kid into a top flight pass rusher, and so why isn't he a receiver? It's a pretty interesting conversation. I definitely think that there's schools across the country, especially if they have a need at receiver, that's what they view this kid as, and they like him as a pass catcher. I totally think he's got very high upside on either side of the ball. At the end of the day, this is a top 50 prospect in the country we're watching. This is no class filler. This is a kid that's going to play in Tennessee's plans down the line. So this was a big decision, I think. And maybe I read wrong and they're still considering him on either side of the ball, but pretty sure that they think he's a bit more of a defensive prospect. So we're going to be talking about this kid as an off-ball linebacker early in his career. Going to be very interesting to see how that works, because I think edge rusher is one of those that, mentally, don't get me wrong, any position in football is asking a lot mentally, but off-ball linebacker, when you have to process things a bit more and you don't have, strict gap responsibilities like an edge protector does, it's a bit easier to pick up, especially if you're not playing it in high school. We're not going to see a lot of clips of him off ball in high school. A lot of this stuff's on the line of scrimmage, and then even if he was doing it in high school, it's a whole different thing to pick it up at the college level, learning a college defense at off-ball linebacker. Going to be an interesting conversation going forward with this kid. This is one that I think at this point, July 2025, we're just going to add him to Tennessee's roster as a very good football player. And then, maybe we see how his body turns out, how he takes coaching, how he looks at off-ball. And then we'll have a better year, after he's in the weight room, after he's in our nutrition program for a year or two. And then we'll know exactly what he's going to do. But, yeah, that's really my 2 cents. 4 minute, we're into this for 4 minutes. I think this kid's highest upside is as a pass rusher rather than a receiver. But definitely think he'd do either very well. But I'm interested to see what other people think. I haven't really took a deep look at Tennessee's roster yet. We're going to do that before the season starts. I'm waiting for that Hattiesburg receiver to make his decision, and then we can do that. And maybe he won't be on this roster, but talk about Tristan Keys for anybody that didn't know. But maybe we take a look at it and we think that, this kid would be so log jammed in the receiver room, while Tennessee doesn't have as much depth at linebacker or defensive end. And then maybe we're like, this makes sense to put this kid here. But, certainly as a college football program, I think this kid would be a very productive receiver down the line. Just has all the traits. I said he has all the traits of a pass rusher. He's got all the traits of a productive receiver as well. Really flexible, really like the ball tracking downfield. The long speed I think he's got, at 6'4". Not really a strider, but I don't know. We'll see. It'll be interesting. But as a pass rusher, you're going to turn the corner really easy, really flexible. that's pretty much all that I have to say about Joel Wyatt here. But you guys let me know what you think. I have some other Tennessee athletes up on my channel, so please check those guys out. Thanks for watching.